No other president has ever had a faith advisory council, but Barack Obama promised change, and tomorrow that group meets for the very first time in Washington. 16 members have been named so far. The remaining 9 are expected to be announced within the next 72 hours. Well, we have 3 of the sitting members with us this morning here on CNN. Evangelical minister, the Reverend Jim Wallis, joins us. The only Muslim member of the council right now, Eboo, Pattel, also joins us. And the man Newsweek considers the most influential rabbi in the country, David Saperstein, also with us this morning. Gentlemen, very good morning to all 3 of you. Before we get going in our conversation, I do want to start, though, by setting up our discussion with this statement from President Obama.
The goal of this office will not be to favor one religious group over another, or even religious groups over secular groups. It will simply be to work on behalf of those organizations that want to work on behalf of our communities, and to do so without blurring the line that our founders wisely drew between church and state.
Well, let's start with Reverend Jim Wallis. Reverend Jim Wallis, he mentioned the line between church and state, but are we not getting closer to that line by creating this council?
Well, I don't think so. We all believe in the separation of church and state. That doesn't mean the segregation of moral values from public life or the banishing of religion from the public square. How can he use the faith community as a resource? Who knows the kids in the streets in the poorest neighborhoods of our country better? Who knows all these conflict situations around the world? Even this morning, a number of us in the faith community have called for the elimination of nuclear weapons. This is a religious and moral issue. It's right on the front burner on your show today. So the faith community is an advisory group with on-the-ground expertise, and he wants to use that expertise to serve the nation. So we're honored to be on the council.
This expertise, Eboo, Pattel, is new in terms of how close it will be to the president as an advisory council. What are some of the priorities that you know of as a sitting member of this council?
Well, the priorities range from strengthening families to advancing interfaith cooperation. The interfaith cooperation area is the one that I'm going to be focusing on. I'm particularly excited about doing what Reverend Wallis just talked about, which is helping bridge Muslims and Jews, Christians and Buddhists, secularists and Hindus across America and the world to help those kids in the streets, to help strengthen families, to help make sure people are in homes. I think that this is the time to build a real interfaith cooperation movement focused on service and understanding, and I'm delighted that President Obama is going to be highlighting that, and that I'm going to be part of moving it forward.
Rabbi David Saperstein, let's talk about your congregation, and all congregations for that matter. What does this mean for those who are religious at this moment?
It conveys 2 things. First, how seriously the administration takes the voice of the faith community, and I think that permeates the entire country down to the grassroots level. And secondly, so many of our churches, mosques, synagogues, temples are on the front lines of providing vital social services to the neediest people in our community. As Jim said, they really know the grassroots, they know the needs, and being able to advise the administration how to go about that work more effectively and more efficiently, while at the same time respecting the restrictions on separation of church and state, I think makes for a healthy relationship in America that will be felt by every church and every house of worship.
Okay, the 3 of you are sitting members. There are 9 more to be named as of yet. Tony Dungy, the former NFL coach, is one name that has been circulated quite widely. What does this mean for your council, Reverend Jim Wallis?
Well, we don't know who will be named. It'll be named. The council will be filled out the rest of the week. But the priorities of the council, I think, are really exciting. I'll be working in the area of making sure the economic recovery includes serious poverty reduction. I mean, 10 million more people are about to become poor in America, 52 million more around the world. This is a biblical crisis, a moral crisis, and so it's appropriate that we take on this task. And so the president has said poverty reduction is going to be a central priority of this council, but also of this administration, and we're very excited about that.
You know, I was looking through a Newsweek article, and it had some, well, very interesting statistics, shall we say, about religion in the United States. And I'll start with one right now, Eboo, Pattel, that Christianity in America, that has dropped. Those who have self-identified themselves as Christians has gone down by 10%.
Well, America is still the most religiously devout nation in the Western Hemisphere, and we also happen to be the most religiously diverse country in the world. And I think a big question for America moving forward is how we're going to engage the religious diversity and religious devotion so that it moves towards cooperation instead of conflict. There's a lot of forces in the world who are invested in religious conflict. We right now need to have more forces focusing on interfaith cooperation. That's what my organization, the Interfaith Youth Corps, has been doing for 10 years, and that's what I'm really excited about working with this council on in the future.
All right, we finished with you, Rabbi David Saperstein. We have just heard the statement at the top of this interview with President Obama. How does this compare with the former administration in terms of dealing with religion and that of government?
Well, clearly the president has indicated he is going to be more responsive to some of the constitutional constraints. But he believes, as did the president before him, in the power of religion to be transformative, to be a force for good, a moral goad to the conscience of the country and to the world. And he wants to harness that in a way that can provide helpful advice to the government to do its interface with the religious community more efficiently and more effectively, and to work together in a partnership to create a better country. So he's created this extraordinarily diverse, religiously, politically diverse council, some religious, some social service providers who are not specifically religious, to give him the kind of advice that can make a difference. I find that very encouraging.
Rabbi David Saperstein, thank you so much, along with Reverend Jim Wallis and Eboo Pattel, all three of you talking about President Obama's brand new Faith Advisory Council. There are 16 sitting members, 9 to be named, their first meeting tomorrow.